That sound might be familiar to you. It's the sound of a large overhead departure board updating with new information. But that sound is becoming increasingly rare as analog boards that click, what are known as split-flap displays, are being replaced by digital screens.
The one in Philadelphia.
That's Kimberly Woods, an Amtrak spokesperson. She's talking about the only split-flap display left in Amtrak stations that she can think of. It's in Philadelphia's 30th Street station, but soon that sign will be taken down. Sometime this year, Amtrak will remove it and replace it with digital screens, just like it's done at nearly every other station the company operates. Just a few weeks ago, the big departure board at New York's Penn Station was also removed. It's been replaced by smaller LCD displays spread around the floor, part of a larger project to upgrade the aging station. The big board went out in style. Well, in Penn Station style. In its final hours, nearly every train it displayed was either canceled or delayed after an earlier storm. People were upset, but not for the normal reasons people are upset in Penn Station. For some reason, people actually liked the board. Tony is a 10-year employee of Amtrak and mans the information booth at Penn Station. He's used to fielding questions from confused passengers, but says recently people have been asking about Penn's departure board.
A lot of passengers asked me, where's the board? They said, why did they take the board? It was so nice.
Besides the information being displayed, the physical board also served another purpose.
You saw it from everywhere. It was a big board in the middle of the station. And people use that as a landmark. They say, where's the board? Where's the board? The board is no longer there.
So what exactly was it about the board that people liked?
I liked the old board just because it was old. I liked the idea that the lettering clicked and turned. It wasn't automatic like on an electric board.
Is it nostalgic now because you anticipated hearing the changing of the board, the update of the board, that clickety-clack noise that it made, and that made you realize that something was happening,
Asked what they liked about the board, most people I talked to said they liked the clicking sound it made as it updated the displayed information. But the one that just came down from Penn Station didn't actually click.
Didn't click? Okay. Well, maybe I'm remembering the older ones then.
Some people had a harder time hearing that.
Wow.
So it was in our minds.
So it was just stuck in our heads then,
because
I remember that it fluttered and did like
and
that.
I really thought it made the noise.
Me too.
The board they're thinking of, the one that flipped, clacked, and whirled as the panels rotated, is a split-flap display. It's also known as a Solari Board for the Italian company Solari that's manufactured the signs for decades. But it was removed from Penn Station 16 years ago.
Get out of here.
Or maybe
I'm
just that old that I remember it
trying
from
to trick
16
us.
years ago. And it was...
It had individual cells that worked independently of each other and looked like it might click, but the board didn't make a peep. It was silent.
I think it was definitely embedded in our minds
Could
then,
be.
because that's exactly
It was
what
fun
I
to watch,
anticipated.
though.
Yeah.
Because the destination might start on the right side, and then you'd watch it switch over, and it kept moving. It made no sense, but
yeah, it's fun.
What is it about departure boards and train travel that evoke such strong invented memories and inspire nostalgia? These tricks of the mind are what researchers call false memories. We reconstruct portions of our memories from actual experiences and fill in the rest later with common knowledge, or what we expect to happen and hear. So what's a Solari Board?
Solari. They are a company that was founded back in 1725 as a clock manufacturer for churches at the time in Europe.
That's Joe DiCarlo, the general manager of the Solari subsidiary in New York that handles the U.S. projects. Since those first clocks in 1725, they've updated their offerings to fit in with changing technology. The company still makes the flapping boards, but not for transportation. As the boards have been disappearing from train stations, the hospitality industry has embraced them. A newly opened Starbucks in Seattle just installed one. Instead of destinations, the board lists the names of coffee being roasted. At JFK Airport in New York, a former TWA terminal being refashioned into a hotel is a recreation of a board from 1962. The restaurant Otto, described on its website as a combination of the elegance of a Bolognese and a teca with the fun bustle of an Italian train station, has one on the wall as you walk in. Even Amtrak, the company that's been systematically removing these signs from its own stations, prominently uses a rendering of a Solari board as an icon on its website and app. As these signs are being removed from departure terminals, they're becoming even more visible symbols of travel. Joe thinks part of that comes from nostalgia, but there are practical design considerations, too.
It was sort of like Pavlov's dog. It was an alert for them. As soon as they heard that clicking noise, their attention was immediately drawn to the sign.
The graphic constraints also contributed to a clear, streamlined look.
They were very structured, almost like an Excel spreadsheet where you had rows and columns and everything was very orderly, whereas today, data can be displayed in any format.
The new screens are less orderly. There's no hierarchy to the way information is presented, and ads could potentially appear beside train info, although Amtrak's Kimberly Woods is quick to deny that as a possibility. A screen somehow feels less trustworthy than a large mechanical board that telegraphs each update with an audible flapping, a sound that seems to mimic the rumbling of departing trains. Joe initially guessed that there were about 100 split-flap boards left in operation, though he immediately lowers that estimate to 50. For the time being, Philadelphia has one of those boards. Philadelphia's 30th Street station is beautiful, especially in contrast to Penn Station. Rising up into the concourse from the tracks below feels majestic. The floors are made of marble and gold Art Deco chandeliers hang from the 95-foot coffered ceiling. Light streams through the 5-story windows and a low hum echoes throughout the main room. A Solari split-flap display with 2 faces sits elevated in the center of the station. Chuck Crilly, an Amtrak information clerk who sits directly under the board, will be sad to see it go.
Even though it's a gadget or, a machine, it's like losing a coworker. It's almost human.
And he's not alone.
I've had so many people tell me that they don't want the board to go. They grew up with the board.
Late one Monday afternoon in February, the station is quiet but gearing up for the evening rush hour. Matt and Gabe, a pair of floppy-haired Australian 20-year-olds, stop to take pictures as the board updates.
Oh, you just don't have them in Perth. Yeah, never where we're from. Yeah, never seen it.
Most people I spoke with felt strongly about the board.
I love it. I love traveling by the train. I like the board. I like the sound it makes. It just reminds me of a train. I mean, it's an old station, so it's an old building, and it's kind of nice.
I like the board, too, even though I think it should be bigger. But I do like it, too.
I really like the board because I like the clicking noise, and it's kind of like reminiscent. I think it's a nice aesthetic, especially to 30th.
There's even an online petition to save it. It currently has several hundred signatures. Though Amtrak won't say when it'll be removed or where it'll go, the board is definitely coming down. The future of information for Amtrak stations is what Kimberly Woods calls PIDS, or Passenger Information Display System. Tony from Penn Station calls it Julie.
Julie's when you make a reservation, the automated system.
Her clear, peppy announcements have replaced the garbled barking over the loudspeakers. She's part of the larger system being installed with the digital screens and throughout the Amtrak website. So who is Julie?
Hi, I'm Julie, the Amtrak Automated Virtual Travel Assistant.
What's a virtual travel assistant?
I'm not human, but rather a virtual assistant, here to help you find information on Amtrak.com.
Who made you?
I was created by Next IT Corporation in partnership with Amtrak.
What is a passenger information display system?
I'd love to help you, but I'm not sure I understand your question.
Maybe Julie would know what was happening with people's misplaced memories. Julie, what's nostalgia?
I'm not positive that I understood what you're asking.
Julie didn't seem to understand human emotions, but maybe she knew where the boards were going. What happened to the large departure board in Penn Station?
I'm not sure how to answer that. I understand simple questions best. Can you try asking that in a different way?
Where is information posted in Penn Station?
You can use the train status tool on this page.
Never mind, Julie. What some view as a technological advancement.
Hi, I'm still here.
Others see as a missed opportunity. Vishant Chakrabarty is an architect, urban planner, and the founder of Practice for Architecture and Urbanism in New York. His firm recently proposed a massive redesign to Penn Station. But his design uses the old display board that just came down, not a fleet of shiny new digital screens. So why does his vision for the future rely on design elements from the past?
There's all sorts of sort of artifacts and spatial dynamics that are happening in the station that go back to its history. And so I think that with the redesign of the station, the only way to really move forward is to look backward at the same time.
Chakrabarty sees a large departure board as another way for people to connect and share a common experience.
I think they create this strong sense of a kind of shared physical environment, that you're in one station, but there are all these different destinations and arrival points. And so, it sits in the heart of this web of all of these destinations and origins. And the board really illustrates that in a way that I feel the screen makes really cold.
Talking to commuters, there was one common sentiment, that the massive mechanical boards just make the train stations feel like a train station. Even though the newer Penn Station board didn't click, it was clear when information updated, and there was no chance that anything other than train information was going to be there. There's a sense of trust and romanticism that can't be replicated with a seamless screen, a glorified TV that everybody now has at home and carries in their pockets. There's an aura of mystery and fun to a board with movable parts that you don't quite understand. That connection just doesn't translate to a flat screen.
It just becomes about the individual then. It's just about you and where you're going, as opposed to sort of seeing where the entire city's going.
On an unremarkable Thursday night, a little over a week after the big board in Penn Station came down, a lone, drunken frat boy created a makeshift dance floor next to the dungeon of mediocrity and depression known as the Long Island Railroad ticket area. A nearby musician played a long intro on his guitar and then started singing, appropriately enough, Word Up.